before I lost my sight, I was in the university. I had plans to become a military counselor when I was done.
What you're saying is you were in your final year,
Yes,
you went in for a surgery,
yes.
you could see,
Yeah, I could.
and then you came out of surgery and you couldn't see.
No, I couldn't.
So, will it be safe to say the doctors caused your condition?
A lot of people left my life. A lot of my friends stopped talking to me.
Really?
Yeah, I lost a lot of people back then. Don't worry, they're coming back now. I'm begging you, but
Oh wow.
Some people tell me it's because of my past sins. I should think
Wow.
of something I've done in the past that God is punishing me. I remember I told one pastor now. I said, you sir, if God was to look at your own sins, I'm sure you would have died by now.
Thank you for watching The Yellow Mic. My name is Kongs Shamaki. I'd like to invite you to help us reach 1,000 subscribers. We are striving to make this worth your time. Also, like this video and share to your friends, and let me know what you think in the comment section. Awashima Atu, you're welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
What do you do?
Okay, so I am a professional counselor. I am also an advocate for gender and disability, and I currently work in an organization. I do a lot of stuff like advocacy, especially towards persons with disabilities.
Before we get into how you lost your eyes, I'd like you to share a little about who you were before you lost your eyes. What was your ambition? I'm kind of curious.
Okay, so before I lost my sight, I was in the university. Um, I was studying guidance and counseling at that point, and I was this very happy person, and I'm always smiling. I was a tomboy, a very serious tomboy. Yeah, and well, life was good. Like life was just good. I had plans to become a military counselor when I was done. It was something, yeah,
Military.
yeah, military. I really like the military too. Like till today. I don't know why I love it.
So you wanted to be a soldier?
No, a military counselor.
Okay.
So there's those ones that like provide psychological and mental support to soldiers, to just military personnel. I just found it very intriguing, and yeah, it's something. It was very unique to me. So yeah, that was just me before. I like to read. I read a lot, like a lot of novels. I used to read a lot, and sometimes I remember my parents used to even like collect books. They'll seize my books so that I could like interact with people around most times. Yeah, that was just me back then.
Okay. So, at what point did you start having problem with your vision, or let me say, what really happened?
Okay, so I was born with glaucoma. It's an eye, um, it's an eye condition that affects people sometimes from birth, sometimes from maybe when they are grown up like that. So mine started when I was very small. I remember I think the first time I was in the hospital for eye issues was when I was 10. I used to have like itchy eyes, and sometimes they'll get swollen. So I went to the hospital, and I think I was given eye drops. So since from when I was like 10 years old, we're always in the hospital, going in and out like that. And I remember in SS2, when I was in SS2, I was giving my first glasses. I used to wear glasses. I used to look like one very serious nerd back then. So I was giving glasses, and I remember the color was green then, and it was very weird. So my friends used to like laugh at me. And before then, my eyes were always swollen, especially when I was in junior classes, and my mates will make fun of me that time. I think it's now that I think about it, I know that I was bullied because of my eyesight back then. Because I remember my friends, my classmates, to say they used to call me Froggy because like if I remember correctly, like frogs, their eyes are big, right? So they'll call me Froggy, and it was very painful. It was annoying, but yeah. So in SS2, I started wearing glasses, and it was really amazing. It made me to see clearly. I could see more clearly, see the board. And yeah, till I went to the university, and yeah, that was it. That was how my sight was back then.
Okay. So at what point did it deteriorate, and what exactly happened?
Okay, so in my last year at the university, when I was in 400 level,
Okay.
um, you know, well, not I could still see. I was still using the medicated glasses. I was still going for like checkups and everything. And most times they just change drugs or change my glasses like that. So sometimes if the glasses got weak, I couldn't see the board. So that was basically it. So okay, so a few months before I finished the university, the doctors were talking about surgery, that I'll have to go through surgery to stop the glaucoma from making me lose my sight at that point. So when I finished my last papers, I finished my project like that. I went for the surgery. That was in 2019. And so after the surgery, when I went through the surgery, after the surgery, I couldn't really see again. And the doctors were like, okay, maybe it will get better. I thought that it was something that was going to clear after a few days, or I thought it was just a healing process. Everything was going to be all right. But so I lost it at that point. Yeah, I went to like different hospitals from Plateau State. We even went to Abuja to an Indian hospital, and I think when I went to the Indian hospital, they checked my both of the eyes, and if you look at me very well, the left eyes doesn't open as much as the right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because so the Indians checked both, and then they realized that okay, so there was more life. Let me say life. There was a little bit of sight left in the left one, so that was the one that they operated upon again. So I've gone through so many surgeries in this left eye. It's safe to say
Mm.
the left eye have suffered. And even recently too, I went through surgery like just a few couple of months ago with this same left eye again. So
And are you able to see with the left eye?
no, not at all. I think mostly I can see light sometimes. It depends on how bright the light is. Sometimes just some days are better than some. Some days I see light a little if it's very bright. Some days I don't. Yeah. So it's safe to say maybe out of 100% in the left eye I can see 10. Then in the right one, I can't see at all. It's gone. So yeah, both of them.
Wow. So what you're saying is you were in your final year,
Yes.
you went in for a surgery,
Yes.
you could see,
Yeah, I could.
and then you came out of surgery and you couldn't see.
No, I couldn't.
So will it be safe to say the doctors caused your condition?
Well, eh, you know, sometimes like over the years, I've thought about it. I've spoken to other people that have the same condition. So sometimes I've heard of people that say it's 50-50 sometimes for glaucoma, that 50% when you go into those surgeries, sometimes you come out, you can see, sometimes you can't see. I wasn't told that though. I've heard that maybe sometimes some doctors tell people that okay, it's 50-50, but I wasn't told whether it was 50-50 or not. The only thing I know is that most of us that entered the theater that day did not almost all of us couldn't see again till today. Because of that experience, we kept in touch like that, and all of us lost our sight that day. So I don't know that it's a coincidence
Yeah.
that
So roughly how many people are we looking at?
okay, so we're mostly like five, but those I kept in touch with till today since that 2019 were three. So three of us. Yeah.
3 of you cannot see.
Yeah, we can see.
Well, that must be a fantastic coincidence if it is. But I'm curious. When you found out you had lost your eye, I don't know. Was it something that was immediate, or it was gradually, it was you losing your eye gradually?
After the surgery,
Yes.
after the surgery, I just couldn't see. Seriously,
You just couldn't see.
yeah, I
So what were you
just.
seeing? Were you seeing white, black? What were you seeing?
Uh, well, I think I could see light better than now.
Okay.
I realize I've lost the sensation as time goes by. Every day it becomes dimmer like that. So I think after the surgery, I could still see light brighter than now.
Okay.
I'll say white, not completely white, but I think I could see a little bit of color back then. Very
Mm.
bright colors back then, but now I am colorblind.
Wow.
Yeah,
So when this happened, I'm sure you went back to the hospital where you
yeah.
had the surgery.
No, I did not do.
No, what I'm saying is, when you realized you couldn't see, what did the doctors say to you?
They will just recommend another one. They'll just recommend, okay, let's try this.
Okay.
Um, just trying like that. They don't really tell you, okay, this is it, it's gone. Nobody really tells you like that. Most times, doctors just give you hope. So, they created this hope in me that it was something that could, be fixed like that. And I kept holding on to that for a very long time. And I went back for multiple surgeries, honestly. Multiple surgeries. I think I went back to the theater, I can say 6 times.
In the same hospital or different hospitals?
Um, okay, so like four in the same hospital and then like
Wow.
two in the other hospital in Abuja.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's a very painful experience. The pain of the whole surgery, opening it over and over, the healing process. It's like slow and it's very painful, very, very painful at that point.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I know you were not born blind.
No.
You became visually impaired. I mean, you were in tertiary school when you became visually impaired. I'm wondering what changed. I mean, I can't imagine just closing my eyes and seeing nothing. Um, I'm sure you've had to adapt to that situation, that condition.
Yeah.
Um, can you walk me through how it was? How did you feel? I mean, uh, your activities might have taken a dramatic turn. Um, uh, what did it feel like? How was your state of mind when this happened?
It was terrible. Like I can't even explain how terrible it was. It was really terrible. It's like one of the worst things that can happen to someone. I like I told you earlier, I was like a very serious tomboy. So I was a very active child and this outgoing, loving person. And then it was like I was just plunged into darkness. It was like a joke. Seriously, that's what I
Mm.
can say. When I think back at it now, I think that it was a joke to me.
Mm.
I thought it was something that was just going to pass. Most times I would just pinch myself like, okay, this is not just happening to
Maybe it is a
me.
dream or
Yeah, it's a
something.
dream. I
Mm.
was just going to wake up. It was like a very bad dream. It was really terrible. Everything changed. I couldn't use my phone. I couldn't even read the books that I love. I told you I used to read a lot. I used to watch movies too, but you see that books was something that really hit me. I couldn't, and over the years I built this like a library, small library for myself. I had like collected a lot of novels. I couldn't even read them. I couldn't. It was like I was stuck in this. I was just stuck. Like I couldn't come out. And everybody comes around. The few people, a lot of people left my life. A lot of my friends stopped talking to me.
Really?
Yeah, a lot of people, like I lost a lot of people back then. Don't worry, they're coming back now and begging me, but
Oh wow,
yeah, at that
that's an
point,
interesting story. So,
no, but then it was really terrible because at that point you need that support. That there's this support that comes from people that are around you, but I kind of lost that support. Thank God for my family. At least my family were there. My family are very, very caring and we're very like close knitted family. My family are really amazing and they really helped me in that time. But Um, I couldn't. I couldn't do anything. I just thought my life was over. Basically, I started thinking of suicide at that point. I remember I had a phone then, an Android phone. I couldn't use it, and sometimes I remember I will hold it and just wait for someone to call, like just
Mm.
anybody. I said just wish let somebody just call me, and then nobody will ever dial the number. And I was in a relationship back then, and the guy broke up with me at that point. He said he couldn't date a blind girl. So so relationship wise, friendship wise, it was gone. I couldn't I could, like, the whole thing just, it was terrible. It was terrible. I had to start learning from the beginning. It's like you're a child, you're,
Yeah.
I had to start learning everything. I had to unlearn what I even knew to start
Mm.
learning everything. And I was really depressed at that point. I was really, really depressed. And I knew that my family were also going through, depression. Not really depression, they were very shocked at that point, that this has happened to their sister, their child, and so they too were dealing with a lot of stuff. So I try to be very strong for them. So most times I don't really show my emotions. So most of the times when I could really express myself and really cry was at night. I hated I hated the darkness. I told you earlier that I could see a little light
Night.
back
Yeah.
then, so I really hated the darkness
Yeah.
because it reminded me that I couldn't see. So most times I remember I used to keep my phone close to me. It's not like I could use it. So I would keep my phone close by. And in the night when everybody's sleeping, sometimes I'll just press the power button so that I can see that light, to reassure myself that okay, I can still see, that small light. It wasn't gone like that. And
Mm.
sometimes I'll just be sweating, I'll be shaking. Like, I don't want to shout, I don't want to. I wanted to scream, but I can't because
Mm.
my sisters, I used to sleep in the room with my sisters, so I don't want them to really know like how I felt. And when I see that light, I just feel much better back then. But it was terrible. Like, even the little, I can't even make calls. I have to rely on my brothers or my siblings, to make calls for me to check my messages. That's if I have. Oh. And yeah, it was a terrible time, truly. Suicide there coming to my mind. Like, why not just take your life? How
Mm.
can I continue living like this? How can I, like, I'll just be a burden to people. There's something that I've always been, since when I was small, was I was a very independent child. And at that point, I had to be dependent on them for virtually everything. And, after surgery, you cannot even bath yourself. You have
Wow.
to, yeah. So, and then back then I was wondering, okay, how will I start my life? Like, it was like I was stuck, I was just stuck. It was really terrible.
Wow. Wow. Thank you for watching The Yellow Mic. My name is Kongs Shamaki. I'd like to invite you to help us reach 1,000 subscribers. We are striving to make this worth your time. Also, like this video and share to your friends, and let me know what you think in the comment section. How did you come out of depression? How did you overcome your biggest fear?
Well, 2019, after losing the whole sight and stuff like that, I went for rehabilitation.
Okay.
There's a rehabilitation program for people like me that lose their sight later in life. You go for rehabilitation, they teach you how to be like live like a blind person. Basically, you learn how to read braille, how to operate computers, typewriters, like that. So I went for that, and then my service too, I worked it to the same school at that time. And after the during the service, I was doing my NYC and also the rehabilitation. And I was the school counselor for my service. Yeah, so I
Wow.
was supposed to like be providing that counseling support to
Yeah.
other rehabilitation students like me, and the pupils, the blind primary school pupils. And I used to do that very well. I'll tell them it's okay, everything's going to be fine. Me myself, I did not even believe it. God knows.
So
So,
where did you serve?
in the school for the blind, Gindri.
Oh, Kendra.
Yeah, so it's the
Okay.
first blind school in West Africa, and it's still there, it's still operating till today. So that's where that's where I served. And I think when I really accepted my condition was in 2021. That was like January of 2021. Um, I had finished my rehabilitation, then I came back home, and then the depression came again. At that point, it was very, this one was even bad. It was very bad. And
So what triggered it?
just staying at home.
Okay.
Yeah, at that point, I could use my phone, that taught me how to use my phone as a blind person. So I got screen readers. I could use my laptop as a blind person. But all my friends, I saw all my colleagues that we went to university, they had work. Some of them were getting married. Some of them were, they're moving on with their lives. And I was just there. I was still at home, still dependent on, my parents, my family, and it was terrible. So at that point, I think there was a day that I really cried and I was like, I was just tired of feeling the way I felt. So I just had to talk to myself like, okay, this had happened. And I had to just accept it and move on with my life. And I think I just accepted that, okay, the sight was gone. No, I was not going to continue concentrating on hoping that medically they decide to come back,
Yeah.
spiritually. You meet a lot of Christians that will say, go to this church, go to this ministry. I'm not saying people don't get healed. People do, but you just keep holding on to that, that hope that to come back. And I just accepted that it was gone. It wasn't going to come back. And I had
But
to move on.
did you attempt going to any?
Yes, now.
Okay. Can you
we
tell me about that?
no, we went for prayers, and we hoped, we fasted, we prayed. We, in fact, some Christians will say that I don't even believe in God. Some people tell me it's because of my past sins. I should think of
Wow.
something that I've done in the past that God is punishing me. Even pastors have told me that maybe there's something that I did that God is punishing me. I remember I told the one pastor now, I said, you, sir, if God was to look at your own sins, I'm sure you would have died by now.
Oh
It's not
yes.
only your eyes that will go. So, you get I was just tired of the whole back and forth. So I used to drink all these bitter drugs that
Hmm.
they'll say, drink and your eyes will come back. All those supplements
Yes.
I have taken all. It did not work. So I just accepted.
Hmm.
And I felt this serious weight lifted.
Yeah.
It was amazing. Like, it was, I can't even explain it. It's like when you become born again as a Christian. Yeah.
Yes.
It was like a whole weight has been lifted from my shoulders. And yeah.
Yes. Your mom is a very jovial person. I
Very-
met her for the first time today, and your brother too.
yeah.
Um, I don't know if you can share a bit of how they had to adjust their lives, because I figure at the beginning, earlier enough when this happened, they had to pause their own activities to pay
Yeah.
attention to you.
Yeah, especially my mom. She's just amazing. Seriously, I'm just so blessed with a very loving family, a very supportive family. I've had to deal with other people's cases where they are thrown out after they lose their sight. But yeah, my mom had to pause her business. All those hospital runs like that. She and I, she was always there. She had to stop her business,
Yeah.
even going to another state. She did that. My dad, the financial support, all of them, my siblings, everybody's life had to change. They had to accept that this had come to stay, and they were I had to learn they had to learn to work with me, to always escort me to places sometimes, to make sure that I'm okay before they leave. And because I'm a very independent person, I learned fast, and they helped me through that. I think we moved to a new house after I lost my sight. They helped me to they gave me this mobility lessons where they taught me that, okay, this is here, this is here, this is here. And now I move around the house like very well without assistance. I do everything. I clean, I cook, like that. And it was just because of the support that my family gave me at that point.
You know, I went to school with blind people.
Oh, okay.
In our school, we had the blind unit, but we attend lectures together.
Yeah.
They did quite a number of things with us, and there are some shocks that I've had to overcome living with blind people. Like I remember in school, we had wells. That was primarily where we got our water from. It was a boarding school. So when we have our fetchers cut and fall into the well, we that had eyes were always afraid to go into the wells.
Yeah.
So the blind guys would just come and would just jump into the well, bring out all the buckets and all the fetchers that have fallen in the well, and they would usually, move around on their own without any help. And they knew where every teacher's house was. They knew the
Yeah.
staff quarters, they knew the classes, they knew the halls. And when I asked one of them, he said they had counted their steps. So they know how many steps roughly it would take to get to the staff quarters, for instance.
Yeah.
Now, last year, when I met you for the first time, I drove you home. I don't know if you remember, from
Yes,
the
I
museum
remember.
to your house. I
Yeah.
drove you home,
Yes.
and you did something that shocked me. I was baffled when you said you were going to direct me to your house.
Yeah.
I obviously know, you described your house. I know where it is, but then I'd not been there, but you said you were going to direct me. So the shocking thing you did was, at every point, I would ask you where we were, and you would tell me exactly where we were. So I was like, is she seeing? Is she pretending? How do you do that?
Well, I don't even know. It's just like your other senses. Like once one sense organ just is gone, the other ones are just activated on another level entirely.
Wow.
Because I had to learn to move around by myself. I don't know how to even explain. So there are things for the blind called landmarks. So mostly
Okay.
when I'm going out, I always know, like, okay, so for instance, if I'm going to the house, if I go maybe if I pass a roundabout, I should know exactly. I know, okay, this roundabout is at this particular area. So they're just things
Okay.
that tell me exactly where I am. Maybe, the site for you, for me, I feel like you guys' site is like a limitation, self.
Oh, wow.
Yes, it is actually, because so if the road curves a little, I know that, oh, this is where I am. If the road is divided and maybe there's like the car hits a gallop, like boom, or a bump, I know exactly where I am. So I just had to
Wow.
learn. Yeah. So I move around by
So,
myself
so if
most
the car
times.
takes another turn, you know that the
Yes, I
driver
know.
has
Yes.
missed the road.
Yes, because and we have to be very careful and sensitive, because
Wow.
in case someone, we live in dangerous times. So sometimes I go to work by myself, I come back by myself, and sometimes knowing those kind of places, or being very sensitive like that, has helped me, because when I climb maybe a motorcycle or a tricycle, and or a cab, and they are taking another road or another route, I'm always very sensitive, like, no, this is not the road, like that. So yeah.
So you've obviously been around blind people.
Yeah.
Uh, if I may ask, what are some of the misconceptions about people living with disability, especially the visually impaired?
Ah. So let me see. Okay, for women, it is believed that we cannot give birth when we marry.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they don't know that like it is working just like every other person.
Okay.
And then sometimes people just believe that every blind person is not educated,
Oh, yes.
or beggars.
Yes.
Because most blind people that people have met are people on the road that beg for money, like
Yeah.
that. Yeah, so they just believe that. Let me see. They believe that we cannot be independent. We'll always be dependent on people, which is not true.
Yes.
Not true at all. Like, we are very independent. We do everything by ourselves. Someone was even asking me a couple of days ago, like, how do I iron? And I'm like, It's simple now. I iron my clothes. Why will all I rely on someone to iron my clothes for me?
So how
So
do you iron your clothes?
just like every other person, you use like ironing board, and is I don't even know how to explain, but it's normal. It's just you just have to use another means to do it. You don't have to see you to actually do something like that. That's why I said your eyes is a limitation,
Wow.
big time.
So have you had accidents?
Yes, that first time I was learning to be a blind person. So many accidents. There were times when I've hit my head on the wall when I don't calculate,
Hmm.
because I don't want to be touching the wall anyhow. I don't want to be like a blind person. And we joke around in the blind community and say you're walking like a blind man or a blind woman. So I always want to walk like a blind person. And then I've hit my head, I've hit my legs so many times. In fact, I used to break my toenail so much that time.
Yeah.
So I've had so many. I've fallen down. I've fallen down. That the worst part is that falling. It's very bad and painful. It's painful. Yeah.
Yeah. What other misconception do you think people are getting wrong?
They think that persons with disabilities cannot, do work like let me see. They
Be
cannot work
hired
in
in
yes,
a
be
company
hired
or
in a
something.
company, yes. So most times people don't employ
Yes.
us because they feel we can't work, and which is not true. We're very smart.
Yes.
Very, very smart.
You are a very smart and intelligent person. I mean, you are obviously one of those people I hold uh, with very high regard,
Thank you.
especially the ideas that come out of your mouth. When you open your mouth to talk, it's inspiring.
Thank you.
It's inspiring. I mean, last year again, when we had a conversation, you you told me how you are helping to transform the lives of people living with disability.
Yeah.
You still work at Kaneng Rampam.
Yes.
Is it a foundation?
Yes, it's foundation.
Okay, so what is your job description?
Okay, I'm the Gender and Social Inclusion Officer. So I make sure that every of our project, every program in the organization is very inclusive for all types of genders, and then socially excluded people. I make sure that especially persons with disabilities are always carried along. Most and then marginalized groups or people are always not forgotten, because most times we tend to forget all those people. Yeah. And then talking about personally, I also do a lot of projects for persons with disabilities. I realized that was the way I felt better helping others. When I accepted my own, I looked around, I saw a lot of persons with disabilities that were committing suicide because they couldn't accept it. Sometimes I get to talk to those kind of people on time and change their mind, and help them to just reintegrate them back into the society. Sometimes I don't get to them. Sometimes I'm too late. But I do things. I've carried out a lot of personal initiatives. This year, 2024, in June, I in collaboration with an organization in Lagos. I gave out 100 blind ladies, blind students, reusable pads, not
Wow.
just the normal one. Yeah, because these are
Mm.
girls that use pieces. They still use rags, and
Wow.
yeah. So during my rehabilitation, I realized those students, they were still using pieces of clothes. 99% of them. So,
Wow.
and it really moved me. I was like, if I ever finish this rehabilitation, I will give my time. I will give. I will find a way to just help them basically, and that's what I've
Yes.
been doing. Yeah, I've been able to tell people about these children. I've been able to get scholarships for these children. I've advocated on radio, on TV, just talking about disability and disability discrimination around it, and advocating for inclusivity in the society.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah.
Last 2 years ago, I did a film called Halima, and it's basically how human trafficking interacts with disability. Because I did a little research into that area, and I felt like it was this gray area that nobody talks about.
Yeah.
And I worked with the community of the deaf. And it was my first time going to a community where there are disabled people uh, who share a common, vision and dream. And um, the question is, as someone who cannot see, uh, have you gone into situations where people wanted to take advantage of you?
Yeah, so so many times, so many times, being a blind person, you're mostly vulnerable. You're vulnerable, I've been taken advantage of even in terms of money.
Okay.
Most times,
Yes.
I don't. Okay, so like before, when I lost my sight at first, I got to know that there were like softwares or apps that I could use to tell the amount of money I'm holding. But
Yes.
as it changed now, the Naira notes, sometimes I don't know what I'm holding because they have not even updated that app to tell me what's the currency I'm holding. So most times I get cheated when I enter cabs. Somebody
Yes.
tells me that it's 500. Maybe he's supposed to give me 500 naira change. He gives me 100 or 200. It feels the same to me. So
Yes.
yeah, I've been taking advantage. Most times I've been in situations where um just because of my sight, someone will try to hurt me like that physically.
Wow.
Yeah, but I've always been taken advantage by someone I thought that was a friend,
Yes.
and it's very sad, and we're very vulnerable to that. In fact, it was because of some of those experiences that I'm into karate now. And
Oh wow.
I said,
that's
I'm,
that's an
I'm
interesting.
serious.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. How do you learn karate? I mean,
It's very interesting.
okay.
So, like, I studied last year, and
Yeah.
I have like a sensei that teaches me. So I learned it for self defense. Then in fact, I represented Plateau State last year, December in Abuja. It was the national para sports. I even came back with a silver for Plateau.
Hold on. Hold on. You represented Plateau State
Yeah,
in karate?
last year,
Wow.
December. And yeah,
And you fought with
uh,
people who can see.
no, no, no. So this one
Okay.
was, but I'm aiming for that one.
Oh, okay.
Nigeria, they
Great.
have not really started that fighting aspect yet, but
All
we're
right.
advocating so that they'll start so that I'll beat someone one day.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you for watching The Yellow Mic. My name is Kongs Shamaki. I'd like to invite you to help us reach 1,000 subscribers. We are striving to make this worth your time. Also like this video and share to your friends, and let me know what you think in the comment section. If I am to relate, or if people should relate with people with disability, I'm sure you've come across stories of how people feel, alienated.
Yeah.
How do we help society to relate with people with disability?
I've said over the years that sometimes it starts from the home. It
Yes.
starts from the home.
Yeah.
If parents out there can really educate their children about disability, it will help. In fact, even before the home, I was telling someone recently that I'm advocating for hospitals
Hmm.
to get, when women are pregnant, they go for antenatal, right?
Yes.
And they're told about children, you give birth to this. Nobody tells them that sometimes you could give birth to a child with a disability.
Wow.
Nobody ever tells them that. And I'm wondering why. It needs to start from even when the child is even in the womb. Like,
Hmm.
parents should know that you can give birth to a child with disability. It doesn't mean that child is bad or is cursed, because you hear a lot of stories like that. I've gone through such things. People don't want to come close to me. People don't want to sit down close to me. I've entered keke like this, and someone will shift away from me. Person don't want to touch me because I'm blind, because it feels like if the person touches me, maybe the blindness will rub on the person.
Yeah.
It starts from even and then the home. Parents teaching children that, okay, if you see this person, it doesn't mean this person is like this. And then our educational system is so bad in Nigeria that it's just a few schools that are integrated. And if imagine if we have primary schools that children with disabilities go alongside children without disability. You see, you now,
Yeah.
because you attended school with most people with disabilities. You understand and you can relate with, us without being scared or having those preconceived notions that
Yeah.
disability, you will get the disability if you don't, if you touch us or if you relate with
Yes.
us.
Yes.
So there's a
Yes.
lot that we can do in the community and to like change those narratives.
Mm-hmm.
I always tell people it doesn't, and everybody's prone to a disability. If you don't have it now, you might have it in your old age. That's just the truth. So I always
Yeah.
tell them, if that disability doesn't touch you now, it will touch you later in life. If it has not reached you, it hasn't passed you by. So educate your children, educate people around you, and the world will just be better.
Mm.
Yeah. Schools, parents, do you know that in schools there are, I feel very sad when I say it, there are parents that if a child with a disability is enrolled, they will go to the school and say that child must be removed.
Wow.
Yeah, there are parents like that. Why? What if that child is yours? There are
Wow.
parents that throw away their children till
Wow.
today because they give birth to a child with disability, and it's just really sad. Really,
Mm.
really sad. Yeah.
Yeah. So, what do you have to say to that one person who just found out that one of their senses or organs or something that they have had to rely on is no more?
It's not over, you know. It's not over. If your eyes are gone, if your ears, it's going to be hard. It's going to be very, very hard. Let nobody lie and tell you that it's not hard. It's not true. I can't even tell you that. I'm still dealing with it personally. It's something that you don't get over
Mm.
like that. I might be this happy person that I've accepted, but there are still times when, because of the society we live in, you're still reminded of that blindness. You're still reminded that you can't hear. You're still excluded from life, and you feel very bad. Just know that it's going to be all right, and everything. Just keep pushing. Little by little, we will change the society. You will get your life. You will continue. Just keep pushing. Just be strong, and you will get there. I'm trying to, create a community personally where we can give support. We
Yeah.
need that mental health support. Imagine if we have like a center where persons with disabilities can go to get that mental support
Yeah.
for, yeah, it will make a very big difference in how we feel, talk
Mm.
about it. Yeah. And yeah, I will tell them, please talk about it.
Yeah.
Don't be silent, because most times we stay silent, we don't really talk about it, and it eats us up for a very long time. And
Mm.
accept it. It is it has happened, just accept it and you will feel better. You'll feel better. Yeah.
Mm. So, you have obviously been a victim of a bad health care system.
Yeah.
Um, what do you think would be done to improve to prevent people, becoming more victims? I remember losing my sister in the hospital a few years ago, and for the 5 days she was in the hospital, the doctor that was assigned to her never came
Oh.
till she passed. So I am obviously it was me losing my sister, but you losing your
Sight.
sight.
Yeah.
Um, um, what do you think can be done in our healthcare system that could improve?
I think one of the things that can be done is to get rid of those doctors that are not
Mm.
really doctors. I think they call
Yeah.
them quacks, right? Seriously, because there are so many doctors there that, for me, I feel like they are not supposed to be there. They are, over the years, I've seen a lot of doctors. Like those, some of them that were in charge of my case. You go today, they change your drugs. Tomorrow, they don't change. In fact, you're assigned a consultant that you don't ever see, but it's on your card. It's on
Mm.
your, you don't see for years, just like your sister that was supposed to see a doctor. Maybe that doctor even had her own, maybe his or her own personal hospital that they are taking care of. Then they just spoil the other ones. They don't go. They don't care.
Yeah.
You know. I wish that such standards for doctors should be made higher. I
Yes.
know the selections, it's not just everybody that should pass, not everybody that will just cram or bribe their way out there and then go and be seeing patients. I just wish that,
Yeah.
it's and we can root out those kind of fake quack doctors that are not there for the passion of it, just there for the money.
Mm.
Mm.
Yeah, a few years ago, Nigeria was advocating for inclusion for disability,
Yeah.
almost in everything, in politics, whatever. How has that been? Do you think there's any progress?
We have like a disability act
Okay.
2018. Nigeria has very tendencies to make very good policies.
On paper.
It's written, it's so
Mm.
nice. If you read it, you just be like, wow. No implementation at all. I'm serious.
Wow.
There's no implementation. And it's really, really annoying. This is something that if it's implemented, it will be good. We fight for employment. Most of our people are not employed.
Wow.
Most of them. Most times you even apply for jobs. When they just go and see you that you're blind or you can't walk or this thing, you're just pushed to one side. There's
Mm.
no 5% this thing. The government talks about it. There's nothing like that. You go to the offices and you can't even enter. Sometimes you see steps. How will a person with a wheelchair enter the office like
Yeah.
that? There are no infrastructures that we can even this thing. Go to the educational sector. Public schools. I've been talking about this in public schools. How many public schools can brag that they have children with disabilities? If you look around,
Yeah.
you will not see. They are not there, and it's their right to be educated just like every other child. And so there's no implementation at all. It is just there. It is sweet on paper.
Mm.
Very nice policies, but no implementation at all. And it's annoying. We are angry.
Yes. So, lastly, I want you to reflect on who you have become. Um, how has it? How has your situation exposed more about yourself? And what have you learned? And how have you grown?
Wow. Seriously, I just thank God that I lost my sight.
Wow.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't think I would have been where I am if my sight was not gone. And I'm just really thankful that it is gone. People just look at me like, "Are you crazy? Why can you say something like that?" Um, Losing my sight really brought out the best in me. It brought out, things. It brought out the strength that I had that I never even knew that I possessed. Sometimes
Mm.
I feel like if I still had my sight, I wouldn't have been where I am today. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know, but for me, that's how I feel. Um, as a Christian, you say God did not give you something that you cannot carry, and truly, He gave me something that I could carry. Maybe He made me understand um, what it feels to be like this, to be able to advocate and fight and help others like me. So it has really helped me to grow. I have every day I discover new things about myself.
Mm.
I never knew that I could be a facilitator. I never knew that I could work in an NGO space. I never knew that I could have other sense organs I can rely on. I never knew that I could help other people, a lot of people. I never knew that I could be a mentor to so many people, an inspiration. And it's if it's just what it seriously. And
Yeah.
before I go, I used to say that in the Bible there was a parable about Jesus, that Jesus told his disciples
Mm.
about talents.
Yes.
He gave those talents out, and some of them buried it, one of them invested it. And I look at my disability like that.
Mm.
So I look at my disability as a talent that God has given me, and I've asked myself, what will I do with this talent? Will I bury it? I don't bury it at all. I use it to bless others, and it has helped me. As I'm helping others, I'm helping myself. I'm growing the more, and I'm just really, really grateful for that. Yeah.
Mm. Awashima. It has been a very nice time talking to you.
Thank you very much.
And I wish you success in all your endeavors.
Thank
and
you.
I hope that all your dreams come true.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.